Mr. Keshe. This is Ek Michael from Germany. Could you enlighten us a little bit about vaccines? Because I'm not a doctor, I'm an electronic engineer, but I'm also a father of a 1-year-old boy. And I have this stomach feeling that a lot of vaccines are just a money-making machine for the pharma industry. But maybe some of them are necessary. For example, when we want to go to Ghana, we need this yellow fever vaccination. So I'm a little bit unsure or confused about which vaccines are necessary and which are maybe only a risk for the kid.
Let me explain to you in 2 ways. I speak as a father, not as the head of the Keshe Foundation. Carol and I, we have suffered heavily because of the vaccination with 2 of our sons. It's literally affected the structure of our family. There is no problem with most of the children vaccination, as long as the 3 vaccination they have linked together with mercury is given to the child individually and in time gap, the way they used to do it our time and your time. The biggest vaccination problem, I know about this very well because we had to study it, and I came across a beautiful man called Peter in Belgium, who actually, because he opposed the vaccination with the data and the information he gathered, they went to even they took him to court to say he's mentally demented, and they put him into prison because he opposed and he scientifically was correct. Now we see the data coming from the American government and the Senate. They know it's mercury in it, they know it causes a problem, but the money paid is so heavy that they're forcing it. We need immunization in the correct way. Otherwise, we would be in the same time of mumps and measles and the rest of it. Man has progressed, but somewhere in between this progress, there is a misconduct in the work. And this is the 3 M's, what they call it. This has to be removed. These 3 vaccines has to be removed, still be given on their own, unless there is a clandestine activities for it. We saw in a ransom demand we received last week, part of the ransom, we're going to release this has been given to the American government. I have to have time to download all the communication. They say we want to control the humanity to less than 500 million. Then what I say is they pray to the soul of their sons and their family. Don't fight them. Give it to them, they'll see their grandchildren using it. Let's see if it's good for them. In any case, now that we know what damage is created by this vaccination, we see a process of reversal. Do not allow your children to, as a father, what I see, because we have 2 sons suffering with it, a 3-4 vaccination, especially around the age of 2.5. This injection they forced to have, this is a killing machine. This should not be given to children. Split it in 3 separate, in a gap of a few weeks from each other, yes, is correct. Mixing it with mercury to inject to the body of a child brings problem in the neurosystem of the brain. It takes years to correct it, and even you can't correct it. Do not be afraid of vaccination when you know what it is, the reason it is, and it's a single vaccination. Never accept multiple vaccinations near each other. Let the process go through. The risk is not worth it. but immune your children from the what it is. I have objection to it, because as a father, today we are still paying for it, for the misconduct of these people. And they know it. They know it clearly what they are doing, because it's in the Senate. They've known it for a long time. I wonder, how do the children and the grandchildren sleep when they know they received the injection? It affects very effectively around the age of 2 to 3 when they get that injection. It's a process of change for a child, and the injection of mercury goes within the neural system. Brings dyslexic, brings ADHD, it brings all sorts of problems which to do with the progress of the brain of the child. And they know they're doing it. Maybe one of the acts of the FDA has to be to abolish the tree mixture, because it's so damaging. And anybody who has stood by trying to stop it have been put into prison. I don't fight it because I've already been damaged by it, but we see a solution. Let me tell you what the solution is. If you've been damaged by it, I explained this in a different way in another teaching very recently. This is part of the same process. It's the neural damage to the brain cell. You can protect yourself from it, or you can, before the injection, put your child through it, that the toxins does not affect. Not after the injection. These toxins, these mercury, as we know, has a strange life. First of all, avoid getting the injection at any cost. I nearly lost my second son because of it. He was on the life support machine in the hospital for 3 days, immediately after the injection. He's a healthy man now, he's highly educated, but I nearly lost that boy. I went to work, he said goodbye to Papa. I got to work, I received a call. He's in hospital, life support machine. He cannot breathe. And it came just a few days after the injection. Now we know what is done. I walked into the room, I could see my son I left a few hours ago, 2-3 hours before, a happy child. Drips, oxygen mask, and everything else to life to save him. If you have a child who's been touched by this process of immunization, criminality, you have to understand what has been damaged, what you have to recover as fast as possible. This damages a certain connection between the brain cells, which mainly connected with behavior. The behavior connection, which connects to physicality, which means two things. You have to support the emotional support, and you have to support the physical support immediately. Zinc oxide and magnesium. You have to bring a connection between the emotion and the brain physicality, which means straight away potassium. You have to bring availability of the seed to produce any cells which have been damaged to be replaced due to rapid regeneration. It means you need calcium. You need to support the process of availability of high level of radioactive materials, that the division of the cell is available to take place, because every second our body uses huge amount of radiation to generate cells, the new skin, the new cell of the heart, everything else continuously. So you have to provide above the need that is available to create the new generation that is needed. It means immediate use, the dosage of folic acid. This is what creates the cell division, the folic acid. I am a great believer in what I understand as a nuclear physicist, in the division of the cell, with the structure of the nuclear material of the body of the man. The mothers stop using folic acid after they give birth. I believe children from the time of birth, because the brain cells are still producing, just because you cut the line from the mother, the brain stops. The children should be supported all the way to the age of 5 to 7 with the right dosage of folic acid as part of their daily diet, which allows the normal growth of this division of cells. We will reach huge advantage for humanity. We'll receive super brains of the century. Because the time we cut, up to the time the child is in the womb of the mother, receives this through the supplements which are given to the mother. When you cut a line, he's on his own, but he still needs it. The world of physicians should understand this support has to carry on to start to give a rapid growth, allowing the normal division of the cells, especially in the first 3 years of life. Then you need extra dosage of that folic acid, the division cell, because folic acid is B9, is a radioactive material which allows just about the right level of energy that the cell of the body of the man needs in the child stages to divide rapidly to create new cells. So what do? You allow that above what is needed, which is usually double the dosage daily for a beginning, when you start handling the kids which are already damaged. Then you need the folic acid is for the brain of the child, because it's a soft. You have to support the physical part. That physical part, amino acid support, has to be of itself. Omega-3 comes in with a factor of EPA, which is specifically for supporting the brain cells in the emotional side. Not ADH, which is on the supporter of the physicality. The beauty of omega-3 is that it supports the brain and it supports the physicality. It supports the emotion, it supports the physicality. That's why omega-3 we take. And nowadays, the world of pharmaceutical or the rest of it create omega-3 which are very heavy on the behavior, or they are very heavy on the emotion. EPA is on the emotion side. You see it, you buy a capsule, it tells you EPA or ADH, which is the physical side. ADHD. AD side is attention deficiency, covered by APA. The HD side is hyperactivity, which is a physicality zone. And that's why we use omega-3. It's a protein within a structure of its control, feeds both sides. The amino acid emotion of the physicality and the amino acid of the physicality. So omega-3 becomes again. Don't forget, we need a daily dosage of omega-3, which is recommended. So you need to give an extra to be able to support the repair. In all my teachings, I always explain everything in detail that you understand. Then you come to another position. All the misbehavior, you call it hyperactivity and the rest, comes because of the problem in the brain. The rest is just the end show. You see a lot of children with a lot of these problems, especially when you see in the trains, you go to the schoolyard, you go to playground, I can pinpoint which one has received the injection and when you started. You talk to the mothers and the fathers, yes, Why don't they teach us? It's very simple. In the Keshe Foundation television channels, or what they call teaching channels, which we bring, we continuously teach these things as part of the, because we bring peace to the child, we bring peace to the family. When you have a child which is not affected, or at least you can manage it, the time spent in controlling becomes the time to spend to play, to bring pleasure. So now you understand, everything you do till you bring balance in has to be extra on top, because whatever is normal, the body uses. You don't have no extra to use for the repairs. So what we usually advise is the double dosage, at least for a while, till it comes into order. Using omega-3, depending on the environment you live, is very effective. It's very important. In the warmth area, you don't use omega-3 so heavily. You use it every other day, or in the summertime. In the winter time, you use it every day, but again under dosage. But whatever I explain to you, go to a physician, go to a doctor, and say, this is what I need. Explain what I explain. He understands, he'll support you. One thing else you need with the new technology is the gans of zinc oxide, and you need the gans of CO2. Because that way you bring balance with the emotional part of the physicality and the emotional part of the brain, and the connection between two. When you drink the CO2, as it passes through your mouth, through your throat, as it transfers energy, it feeds the brain first, and then the emotion of the physicality part of the body. So calcium, potassium, magnesium, zinc, and then omega-3, folic acid, which are 2 nuclear materials included in this. If you have seen physical damage, B12, according to doctor prescription, can be used. Because if the child, you realize, is after the age of 7, 12, you need not only to support with folic acid, you need to bring the factor of B12 in, because now the cell division of the human part body, which is a red tissue muscle, is much stronger. It needs a more powerful radioactive material for division, because it's a stronger bound cells. So you have to take B12. And then you understand, with a new technology, you balance everything in a perfect condition. CO2 and zinc oxide, liquid plasma. You see the changes in the first weeks, and then you allow the brain to repair its damage. There is a way to get rid of mercury from the body and the brain. I will release this knowledge in the coming time, because we see a lot of it with the tooth fillings, with the dentists, and we see a lot of it with the use of the chemicals which are not done correctly, especially for those who wear golds and are in touch with gold a lot. Those who understand the technology know what it means. They can't clean the gold totally off the mercury, even they say so. There's still some residual left. And that creates other positions in the body of the man. So, if you have, I told you as a father, you don't want to see your child with the polio, you don't want to see your child with other diseases. Separately, the history has proven to be good. Collectively, these 3 injections have become menace to society, and I've paid with 2 children life. This is our experience, and Caroline can give you a history of it, because we had this battle, we still have this battle every day in our house with these 2 menace injections. You can repair it, and it takes a lot to do, because it takes a lot of confidence from the child. Thank you very much for bringing this up.